Hi, Filmatics. Welcome back to part two with John Aoshima. Oh, he is so amazing. His incredible story, how he became this wonderful Emmy nominated animation director for Ducktales and also nominated for an Emmys for Gravity Falls. Let's welcome John Aoshima back to the show. John, welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is awesome. This is exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so exciting because we have so many listeners from all around the world, that are just wondering how people, get into the film business, animation business, TV business, whether they're a writer, director, producer, actor, or illustration or animation. So you're from Japan. You're watching these movies like Goonies, and you're seeing these films, and you're watching the VSH tapes, and even the laser disc, and then in high school your teacher has this animation program which you have affinity for drawing, and your love for animation just blooms, and you have this wonderful teacher, but a mishap being too young and disqualifying you kept you from going somewhere in a different state, probably, and led you to Cal Arts, going to get your degree in Cal Arts. So that's a wonderful path. So how was your journey at Cal Arts? Because that's a pretty tough program, right?
Yes. When I was young, and I was like, hey, I had studios already looking at portfolios, and there's like I've already met some great legends, and now there's recruiters hunting me down for work or whatnot, or internships or whatnot. And when I got to Cal Arts, I looking back, I think I had a big head because I was like, like I think I'm ahead of these guys. Like I've had my basics in animation. I'm already making films, and the early classes, were all basics of animation, like what's called a bouncing ball or walking test. And there's nothing to do with like actual characters or characters coming to life. It was a lot more about the technical side to get the movement of animation down. And so I was actually having a hard time at the very, very beginning, the first month or two, because I was like, what? Why am I here? Like all my friends are at the studios, friends from my high school program. But what made me stay was, I was watching the other students, and they had amazing draftsmanship. And even if I had gone to the art center Saturday High and the ASIFA figure drawing classes during the weeknights, I realized that if I hadn't done that, I don't think I would be in the program and be shoulder to shoulder with some of the talent in the program, at the Cal Arts program. And so I started to really observe how fast they were learning. And the moment they learned the technicalities of animation, they just soared, and they were just amazing. So, and for me, I was like, man, I went to this high school program for 4 years. I was ready to just work, but holy cow, these girls are just like doing amazing work. And I even thought about like dropping out early. And Cal Arts at the time was known for a lot of students. Maybe it's still the same, but a lot of students would kind of drop out in the middle of the program, and the moment they would have jobs, they'll drop out. But I asked my classmates like if they were like sticking it out all 4 years, and they're like, yeah, we're in this all the way. Like this is amazing school, blah blah blah. And so I was like, oh shoot, if I'm just barely shoulder to shoulder with my classmates and they're gonna go for all 4 years, like I'm gonna have a hard time keeping up with them in the professional world. So I was like, if you guys are staying, then I need to stay in the program. And I think I really like dedicated myself to what the program offered and realized that, the difference between my high school program and Cal Arts was more about being a filmmaker, and the high school program was more about strictly animation and getting your foot in the door. And I think realizing what the college program could offer me, I decided to, and also, my classmates being super talented, I thought, I need to get this education. I need to get my foundation down and really understand all aspects of filmmaking and animation. And that's what really held me down for that first year. And because I was really confused and wasn't sure if I should stay, because it's such an expensive school as well. It was super expensive back then too.
Yeah.
But just I made it work. Student loans and parent loans and everything I can get, scholarships, whatever I can get. I just dedicated and invested a lot of debt to attend that program. And my senior year, at Cal Arts, a lot of the teachers were working professionals, and a lot of classes were in the evenings. And it wasn't my second year; it was my freshman year, and I think it was the right teacher to tell me the right thing. That really told me that I was making the right decision to stay at Cal Arts. And that teacher was Mike Wing, my freshman or second semester animation program. I can't remember, but he was the animator at Warner Brothers. And by that point, my high school teacher, Dave Master, was pulled into being a recruiter and a trainee instructor for Warner Brothers Animation. And so he had left the high school program, even though the high school program continued with other teachers. Dave had gone to being a recruiter for Warner Animation. And so my animation teacher at Cal Arts, who was an animator at Warner's, was like, "Hey, John, I know your teacher, and I know some of the students you went to the program with are working with me now at Warner Brothers. But John, I'm happy you stayed. I'm happy that you're here at Cal Arts." And I said at the time, I was like, I wasn't really sure if this was the right choice. I'm relearning stuff. I want to move forward and learn more more advanced animation. And Mike had said, no, I think this is what you need. This is exactly where you should stay. And and I hope that you finish out the program. And I said, why? What's the difference? And he said, because your colleagues, as talented as they are, those guys are animators. But you're in this program because you're a filmmaker, and you need to learn everything that you need to do to really understand all the disciplines of filmmaking. And so stick it out, So and that was the right, sort of words being shared with me at that moment of confusion, to just be like, okay, I got it. I don't have to think about this anymore. I'm at the right place. And so at that point, I just put my head down and really dedicated myself into and investing everything I got into it to finish it out.
And when he says you're a filmmaker, does that mean also that you will be writing the stories, or is that you're going to be the director of that animation? When he says, what exactly did you get from that?
So, excuse me, the high school program. What was great about that is about, again, the technicalities, but we only had that one teacher, Dave Master, and he was really good with story. So he would really coach us on story. And then then it was up to us to really learn animation, the technical aspects of animation, even the equipment and this and that. And the way he structured that program was he had sort of a mentorship where the upperclassmen or even alumni would kind of guide you and teach you, and we would have guest speakers and whatnot. Where CalArts was more established, there was a teacher for each discipline, and really took you in depth to really ground your foundation. And so that's the difference. And so when I went to CalArts, I had a story teacher, I had a figure drawing teacher, I had an animation teacher, I had a perspective drawing teacher, I had, and then I had to take my GEs, of course. So I had like film history and film, studies and like, whatever, all kinds of important, classes to like really build up a strong foundation. And so, I was just like, okay, well, another 4 years, might as well assume this is like, pursuing a master's degree or a doctorate, degree or something like that. So I just kind of looked at it that way.
Well, it really paid off. So your first big break out of finishing the program, where did you land? What was your first job?
Let's see. So my first job was a startup, and it was during my summer break. And there was a person named Victor Belomo who wanted to put together an animation studio, and came to CalArts scouting for talent, and there was an inside contact where, through friends or family or whatnot, had known a student at CalArts, so that's why Victor had come over and basically hired a bunch of us for the summer in Sunnyvale, California, and we were making animated greeting cards back then.
Oh, beautiful!
And yeah, so it was really fun because the way it was like an animation camp for us. And there's a lot of great memories, a lot of great talent there, because it was just all my classmates, and we were just all, renting an apartment next to a startup studio, and we were barbecuing like every night, and it was really fun. So there's that experience, but I think my first professional job was a show called Futurama, created by Matt Groening, and the studio called Rough Draft Studio, the owner and the directors, or the partners of the studio were CalArts alumni, and they come out to see student films, and they looked at bunch of students' work, and they just kind of handpicked out everyone who they wanted, and so they all got hired, or they were taking applications, I should say. They were taking applications in the portfolio. So of course I applied, and during that time, I think I was a junior in the program. I haven't graduated yet, and at that time, Warner Brothers Animation was also recruiting talent for Iron Giant. And both studios were in Glendale, California, and I was applying to Iron Giant because a lot of my close friends were applying there, but I didn't get accepted to Warner Brothers Animation. But I had friends at Rough Draft on Futurama, and so I applied there, and I had a lot of great friends that kind of helped um, 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 what's the word? Just kind of say, hey, basically good referrals to get me hired. So I got in that way, and it was great because I learned. You think you learn enough after many years of the animation programming classes,
Yeah.
but you really see what the studio needs or wants and demands. So started learning how the TV production process works, and then and it was perfect timing for me because I wasn't sure if I could go back to CalArts because I had some financial troubles, challenges because the tuitions are so expensive.
Yeah.
But so what I did was, you know what, I'm not gonna stress out my mom, and I'll just stick it out, in this, at the studio in Futurama. So I actually took a year break and worked on the season, first season and part of the second season, and then I saved enough money and felt confident I could go back to CalArts. And I just told my producer, I said, I want to go back to CalArts. I want to finish it. I just have one more year. And I told myself I'm committed to finishing. The words of wisdom by my teachers have said, like, you need to finish the program. And my friends are still there, getting the best education. So, yeah, that's what I did. I had a lot of directors actually, jokingly giving me a hard time. They're just joking that they're like, "You're already here, John. You're already working. Why would you want to go back to school? Why do you want to?" They're just basically teasing me. But deep inside, because a lot of them were CalArts alumni, they're just like, all right, we understand. Go back, finish your last year, make a film, and hopefully you come back to us. And I did. I went back to Futurama.
That is beautiful that they left that door open for you, and ever since then, so you do Futurama, and can you tell us, how'd you go to like, and you even have Star, the Star versus the Forces of Evil, Kubo and the Two Strings, Gravity Falls, and you became a director. Not only that, like you said, that you're a filmmaker. You became a director on American Dad and director on Gravity Falls. Yeah. Art department of Kubo and Two Strings, animation department of Star versus Force of Evil. I mean, Ducktales. You were actually, did you directed Ducktales, right?
Yes, I did. So I'll jump into my directing path once I was in the profession or professional field. So on Futurama, I eventually was promoted to assistant director for a director named Ron Hugart. And then the show got canceled after a season of me working as an assistant director. But I got a good peek at what the directing role is, and my director really taught me quite a bit as an assistant director and how to work with a team and all. And once it was canceled, I had the first job to go to was because we learned Matt Groening style. I ended up going to The Simpsons, and I was at The Simpsons for 2 seasons. And fast forward, my director from Futurama was what got called in by Fox to direct the Family Guy DVD movie. And I kept in contact with my Futurama director all that time. And Ron had said, "Hey, I got this off to direct the Family Guy DVD." And by that point, or at that time, Family Guy had been canceled from the first run on TV. But Fox was, wanting to do a straight to DVD movie. And so he said, I want to bring John on as my AD for this project. And I said, oh, yeah, and he had asked me to join him. So I said, sure, I would love to work with you again. Because he's like a great mentor. He was like a dad to me, you know. So I was like, of course. And I was just waiting for the production to start. And turns out that the Family Guy DVDs from the show, the TV broadcast, had been such a big hit in sales that Fox had decided to renew the Family Guy series, and I didn't know this, but at the time, but American Dad was also in the works by Seth MacFarlane at Fox, and so because of the huge success of set DVD sales of Family Guy, Fox had greenlit American Dad at the same time, and so the producer at Fox said, you know, I have to get a whole new show up, 2 shows up and running. So Ron, I'm going to have you become a supervising director for this American Dad show. And so Ron said, sure, I'll do that if I can bring John along, you know. And so Ron has switched from initially assigned to do the DVD movie to running American Dad as a supervising director. And Ron was directing the first episode of American Dad, and I came on as his AD for that pilot episode. And as he was putting the production team together for prime time production, he needed multiple directors. So he was, you know, looking for other directors from other, you know, people he's worked with, and you know, at a certain point, he's like, "Hey, I have a slot for you, John. You should direct." And I'm like, "What?" You know. So I'm like, he's like, I think you're ready, and I think you can pull this off." And I said, "Okay." You know, I was really happy and honored that he believed in me and he thought that I could pull it off. So I said, "Okay." I won't F this up. I'll follow up and, you know, and do my best. And that's how I got started in directing and animation.
Amazing.
And, from there, I was there for 6 seasons. And, you know, that's technically about 7 years of production. And I got sort of a 7-year itch. So I actually just like moved on to wanting to do something more and expand my animation career. And so because I already done so much prime time work up to that point, I was just waiting for the right project. And that's when Gravity Falls came up. It was perfect that Gravity Falls needed, or the creator was a huge fan of The Simpsons and wanted someone that came from the sitcom world to be one of his directors. So, and I got hired on to do that show. And once I was at Disney TV, you know, I started to bounce around from different job roles to you know, different, you know, leading or sort of production roles in different types of shows, and also worked on, you know, Star versus Forces Vivo as a post director and whatnot. I don't know. There's a variety of shows I worked on at Disney, but prior to, or I'm just getting confused with my timeline. But at a certain point, I also had an opportunity to work on a feature, and that's when I decided to go to Leica, and my good friend had sold a show called Kubo and the Two Strings to Leica, and asked me to come up to Oregon to be his head of story. And basically, head of story is a story supervisor to run the story department. And so I supported, you know, my friend, the director Shannon Tyndall, his vision for Kubo and the Two Strings. And the way the way that happened was really fascinating too, because I because he's a friend of mine from Cal Arts, and we were roommates when I was still on The Simpsons, and I had high school friends visiting me, and back then I had a different last name because I had a stepfather, and his last name was Kubo, and so when my high school friends would visit me, they call me Kubo as a nickname because it was so different and unique than just John. So they kept calling me Kubo. And Shannon, my friend, was like my roommate too. He was like, "Hey, what is that? Why do they call you that?" So I explained all that, and he goes, "That's a cool name. I'm going to use it on a character one day." Well, fast forward 10 years, he calls me up and says, "Hey, I sold a movie to Leica, and I'm calling it Kubo and the Two Strings, and the main character's name is Kubo. You have to work on it." And that was it. I was just like, "Okay, here you go. Let's do this." And so I joined him on that venture.
I just love how you just, you made the right decision to stay with your friends. Like you seem like you enjoy this friend environment, and you have so many mentors and so many people that love you. And is there anything you want to tell us? You got Emmy nominated for the Ducktales. Is there anything you want to tell us that's coming up where people can keep up with you and see where what you're working on?
Okay, now currently I'm working on another feature. It's not announced. I can't go into any details of that. I'm hoping that they'll announce something later this year. But prior to that, well, I should just say I'm currently at Netflix Animation, working on a feature in development. But my first in with Netflix Animation is the show called Maya and the Three, directed by Jorge Gutierrez, who also directed the film Book of Life. And we know each other from Cal Arts. So,
wow.
like I said before, I was surrounded by amazing talent, and I needed to stick it out because I was shoulder to shoulder with such great talent that if I skipped out of school, dropped out of Cal Arts, like I don't know if I'd be where I am today, So, and not only that, I mean, your friends, your close friends, colleagues, they become part of your network in the industry, and so I think that was one of the main reasons that I was, pulled into to Jorge Gutierrez's project, because he actually approached me and said, "I'm working on a project. It's a series, but it's like a feature quality, high concept thing, and so I want someone that has both TV and feature experience, and working on Kubo and the Two Strings and my history with TV shows, I guess was the right role for that. So he brought me on. So that show is supposed to be released sometime this year. I believe fall this year.
Well, real quickly, John, where can people keep up with you? We have like literally 2 minutes left.
Okay. I'm very bad with my social media, but you can Google me. But I don't know. LinkedIn is the go-to place. You can search my name on Instagram, and find me there as well, and Twitter as well. I'm very, very bad, like I said, with social media, but I am working on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to my crazy adventure, but I appreciate your time, and this has been a pleasure.
Yeah, so we'll have all the information in the summary below. We just want to say thank you so much, John Aoshima, for coming to the show. Incredible, incredible director, animation, just amazing story. We're so happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much. This has been such great way to go through my my memories. So thanks for having me again.